We are currently living in one of the most uncertain times of the millennium, and the coronavirus pandemic has changed the way we meet, the way we invest, the way we buy, most importantly, the way we do business. There's no doubt that the economy slows down, and there's much more in this period of change. And the goal of this Fusion Talk is for give you a little bit more perspective on how important this change is, what trends are here to stay, and also how you can adapt to them, and why this pandemic and recession is different from the past ones, and finally give you important information on the business that are going to thrive in the next few months in 2021. And hopefully this Fusion Talk give you some imagination. It happens 15 years ago, were the beginning of the Middle Ages, where two people. The first is nobleman, the second is the craftsman who produces swords for a living. So, which one do you think has more influence? Obviously, the noble figure has more power because he was born rich into the right family, and that's the key factor back then. Even at this present time, having lots of assets can make a difference between living a good life or a miserable life. In the Middle Ages, society was composed of three orders: people, the noble, the clergy, and the peasants. They also believed that the very important they preserved the division to remain in social class where you were born in order to maintain a general equilibrium. Therefore, it was almost impossible into ranking society to a higher ranking if you were born a noble or enjoyed the privileges of a noble. And likewise, if you were born a peasant, you would live your entire life as a peasant. In those times, your status for the rest of your life is dictated by the class you are born into. However, it's not the case in the times now. You can become wealthy, an influential person, even if you start with nothing. And that's the case with almost all millionaires in our society. According to Credit Suisse, 18.6 million millionaires. According to Investopedia, there's 80% of them are self-made first generation millionaires. So only 20% of millionaires in the United States inherited their wealth, and the rest of them built their wealth by themselves. So unlike the Middle Ages, where land indeed um, played a massive part in determining the wealth of the person, but now the best person to make wealth is who has the best knowledge in spite of adversities. Some people will profit immensely just because they know an information, and it's one of those people. Um, and we, how do you get all this information? And that's the $1 million question. So, how many sources can you make? Can have that have unbiased information that you can act upon, and the goal of this Fusion Talk is to give you this information. So hopefully you give a big thumbs up or share this YouTube or Facebook video and put a comment below. And so going back to how to succeed in business and fulfilling the basically is fulfilling the needs of others. Many clients and wants have demand businesses to provide them the services and to fulfill their desire. And if, let's say, if you want to watch a movie, you buy a ticket, uh, and if you want to make a delicious milkshake, you buy the best blender. So in order for you to understand why the business I'm talking about will boom in the next year, you need to understand these principles of economics that was taught to me after 4 years of a degree in commerce economics. But my teacher was boring, so, and I'm just learning this through reading on my own, and basically um, it's between supply and demand the key to success in business. So while demand is what people are willing to buy at a certain time, a certain price, let's say if you're a writer, you want to sell your book for $39, and they're willing to buy your book for that price. On the demand side, the principle is relatively simple. If you want to imagine you're a writer and a lot of people want to buy your book, so many, if they want to buy a book, if you want to maximize your profit, you bump your price by $10 and start selling them for $49. Um, But ever since you increase that price, many people actually stop desiring the book because they now think it's overpriced. So the demand goes down, and in business, usually when demand goes up, so does the price. Since business want to make more money, when the prices are like go up, the demand. So also ideally there has to be a balance between demand and supply, and try to get that perfect is rarely, it's hard. So in order to understand what's the highest price that the demand for that specific product, if you think about the same with the stock market, then a lot of people will want to buy stock and its value raises, and obviously there are many other factors that influences many the stock prices. The understanding demand and supply can help you make a better decision. Um, the first business I'm talking about is the logistic and parcel delivery. And according to a report, it says $12.2 trillion by 2022, this business of logistic and parcel delivery. It's a big business, and the business model is basically delivering goods and receiving a fee for items delivered. The carrier business largely rely on economies of scale. So if 100 items are delivered to the same area, the income to the expenditure ratio is better. So there was just, if let's say a regular citizen want to buy products online, obviously that niche that he was buying may grow. In fact, grow even faster because more and more people are purchasing online, and a lot of people trusted online shopping, but due to new health regulations brought about by this pandemic, they were forced to just turn into the internet. And most people had two options: either go out and possibly take risk on getting infected, or just go online shop. And most people choose the second option, and they discovered the convenience of online shopping, and they haven't got back to traditional shopping. And actually this is a trend that's going to grow and grow because there's a lot of brick and mortar closing down retail stores. Instead they go online, and a lot of them wants to deliver on their doorstep. So the lockdown has made this online shopping faster. So if you're thinking of getting things into this industry, there are a few things to consider. And you will have fierce competition, and you have to know your customer. You want to deliver business to customer or business to business. So these things you have to consider if you want to go into that niche of business, which is delivery. They have the Grubhub, this Instacart, all delivery basically is the business model. So another example is Delta Airlines, where they're in the airline industry, but their market, or they're promoting cleanliness, uh, and and the way they do cleanliness, of course, they go into the health and cleaning business. So the number two business that I'm talking to you is the health and hygiene business. Before the pandemic, it was perfectly okay to shake hands, hug, and physical contact. Now it's very impossible to have physical contact. Social distancing, washing hands, a lot of rules. So if you want to convince people to get into your business, you have to be clean. And for example, if you're in a restaurant business, I'm pretty sure that you have to follow the guidelines. You have to be clean, sanitize, and do everything to ensure that people are anxious to come into your restaurant. And you advertise everything, you do that your place is safer. And so you want this to happen, and that's when you know you pop up the make maybe make phone calls or go online and tell them that you have the cleanest restaurant. So same goes with the tourism sector. The cleaning service are a very important part of their business. Everybody wants to have a clean um, place and a clean product. So the innovation of on this hygiene business is huge. The number three business I'm talking about is the social media marketing agency, and this focuses on generating sales for businesses with various techniques on social media. They use leading SaaS platform or subscription software services. All these agencies have uh, popped up. It's all over the internet. They can do your Facebook posting, Instagram graphics, and you know, posting your feeds, things like that. And this is some business that is booming, and it will take time before this trend fades out. And of course, you have to have experience and skill in order to get into this business of marketing and serious about it. And hopefully, you have the necessary skills to start the agency. And if you want to have more details on this, I have a few um, on how to start this type of business in order to succeed. If you're just interested, let me know. The most important thing that you can do on this type of business is to elevate your business game, to stay informed in all times. And I'm not talking about garbage news. Um, try to be selective in the information that you get, and value that content. And most millionaires and professionals and business people uses this technique, skill, to make more money and live a healthier, happier life. So hopefully you'll subscribe to my Fusion Talk and give you more wickets with wisdom, information, knowledge, internet, trending, um, and other suggestions. So hopefully you'll take this information and share it with others. Until next time, have a great